A short break from the news to speak to Moses Kuria, who is a former cabinet secretary and also former presidential advisor on economic affairs. And we had started to speak about the state of the graft war with the major pronouncements from the president, of course, talking about that multi-agency team that he has constituted or rather established, as well as the reactions from Parliament, that is the National Assembly and the Senate. But first, let me ask you this, because when you go back to the multi-agency team that, as you said, has institutions that are already mandated to fight corruption, how can EACC, an independent commission, the office of the DPP, which cannot take the direction from anyone when it comes to its work,
constitutional,
how can this multi-agency team achieve what these institutions have not?
First of all, I think that's what I would call a superfluous question. Because somebody will go to court, for sure. Somebody will go to court and this multi-agency will be stopped on that basis of contravening the constitutional principle that you cannot achieve by a multi-agency what you cannot achieve, with a mandate given to you, not by the statutes, but by the Constitution. We saw the multi-agency on this issue of, the containers and counterfeit goods, and you know how that ended up. Multi-agency is equals to everybody's job, which becomes nobody's job. It's just another way of avoiding shirking responsibility by the individual bodies concerned. So I don't think we need to be led by this, because as sure as day follows night, I expect somebody to go to court and stop that multi-agency thing.
So what would lead a government to make such a position? What exactly?
I think, as I said, it is a holding of knee-jerk coming from yesterday, that because of the uproar from members of parliament, blah, 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 let's do something that shows, because the whole thing of yesterday came out as generalization as opposed to systematic, fight against corruption. So I think today was saying, wait a minute, I think we made a mistake yesterday. Let's step back by showing that we have got a seemingly institutional process. But by doing that, they is now turned into the unconstitutional by trying, because of course, mostly because I don't think it was well thought through.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you listen to the president accusing members of parliament of extortion, you've been a member of parliament, you've been a cabinet secretary, you've been an advisor, so you've been on both ends of this. Is this something you've witnessed? Well,
there are always allegations.
Yeah.
And the line between what is not acceptable and lobbying, some people hide on this side or the other. Yeah. So they have always been, you remember when in the 12th Parliament, we were given some money by the Uhuru Kenyatta regime to remove Eden Duale as a majority leader. And you remember, it's unanswered. I waived the money I was given there. So you cannot say it doesn't happen, and it is bound to happen.
Do you mind reminding us how much it was?
It was 100,000. We were given 100,000 per person to remove Eden Duale as a majority leader and put in place Amos Kemunya. And I went to the floor of the House and I said, this is the money I was given, 100,000 shillings to remove Eden Duale, and I offered to give it back, So...
And what did the Speaker do at the time?
Well, there was no follow-up from the office of the Speaker at that particular time. Remember, we were all swallowed by that nonsense that we were all Jubilee, so therefore we are all bound by that collective...
So tell me, who delivers that money to you?
There is always an office. That time it was the office of the majority leader. It is where you pass by.
But the office of the majority leader was Aden Duale. He gave money to be removed. No,
there was a secretary. The secretary of Duale. The secretary of Duale is the one who was, remember, you pass by and you see her, and then, she gives you your 100,000 and you go your way after the successful job. Never mind that some of us were not removing Duale but it was done in such an orthodox manner because all of us were in the Tanga movement. So it can happen. But my question is this, Sam. I think somehow I'm feeling grateful to the president by saying that members of parliament, they vote because of financial inducement. Maybe that explains how they in a record time passed 4 bills for the universal health coverage, a darling of the president. Maybe, thank you, Mr. President, for letting us know. Maybe that's how they've passed the housing levy in a record time. We didn't know why. Now the president yesterday may have given us hints of how he achieved that.
Mr. Skura, you were in government at the time.
I'm just saying, maybe, because I'm just saying this, Sam. I'm just saying, Sam, I'm saying, by the way, I'm a supporter of most of those programs. And I'm not one hypocrite to come, today I'm saying this, tomorrow I'm saying the other. the point I'm making is, maybe I'm getting too complicated. Even if Parliament is corrupt,
yeah,
how do they pass all these bills which we needed as government to carry out our agenda? If they are being bribed for example, anti-money laundering, a government bill, how do you now know that they were not bribed for the other things? So I think it's opening, the point I'm making is opening a very dangerous Pandora's box, where you can't now differentiate between what was passed in a legit way and what was passed by inducement.
But
and this is, this is a sword. It can cut this way and it can cut that way.
That's what I'm asking, because the president spoke about committees' demand for money to give favorable reports. As a cabinet secretary, did you find yourself in such a situation at any given time?
I never give any committee money.
Was it demanded?
No, it was not demanded, because they can only demand if you have something to hide. Yeah, they can only demand if you have something to hide. And I was oversighted by up to 4 committees. Up to 4 committees were oversighting me at different times.
There was a matter of the edible oil importation, and there was investigation going on. How did you handle that?
If there was investigation, it never came to me. It never came to me. And by the way, the issue of edible oil, Sam, was purely a market issue. It was a market issue. Remember, we were importing to stabilize the edible oil when the dollar was at 160. Yeah? So we were victims of that currency issue. Yeah? They were victims, and this matter was looked at by very many committees, by very, very, very many committees. And I went there with my head high, because we couldn't pay the price. We couldn't take the blame for the current situation that we had in the country. But on the converse...
But there are people who lost jobs, you know that?
Not on that particular issue. Maybe on other issues.
Pamela Mutua, KNTC?
No, not on that particular issue.
What was the issue?
I think on another matter, not that particular issue.
Which was?
I think it was some matter to do with rice or something. And way after I left that ministry. Way after I left that ministry.
So,
and by the way, the last time I was a minister in that ministry was 4th of October, 2023. It will be 2 years in some few months' time.
So there are reports that there used to be a special room at the Intercontinental Hotel where bribes would be collected. Any information about that?
Before the advent of phone cameras or after?
Tell me about what you know about that room.
No, that's what I'm saying. If there was indeed such a room, then it could have been captured on camera. It could have been captured on camera. And by the way, let me turn this conversation, Sam. In normal situation, Parliament is supposed to vote on the issue of parliamentary leadership. But they don't. At least comes from State House and from the other powers. And what happens in Parliament is just, a ritual. So as a matter of fact, the issue of who appointed Moses Wetangula, members of William Ruto. It's William Ruto. Who appointed Kimani Ichung'wah? It's William Ruto. Who appointed Amason Jeffa Kingi? It's William Ruto. Who appointed, Aaron Cheriot? It's William Ruto, and Parliament just rubber-stamped. Who appointed Junet Mohammed as the leader of the minority? It's Raila Odinga. Who appointed Stewart Mazayo as a minority in the Senate? It's Raila Odinga. So I think here we have got some chefs who are complaining about the taste of their own soup. Which is okay, but... And the chairman of the committees, the leadership, it also comes as a list.
It's interesting that you know so much about the current parliament, but the parliaments you served, you have no details. You were there for, was this 7 or 8 years?
For 10 years, yes. For 9 years.
9 years?
Yes.
And you never heard of people
of course, there were
going to collect some money anywhere?
And I've told you
apart from impeaching, removing...
How close do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
I've told you the situation whereby it is on record. It's on record. How close? Now what else?
What I'm asking is,
do you want to hear from?
Look, Moses Kuria, we're here to benefit from your insights. Members of parliament are saying, let the president name those that he's saying have been corrupt, those that have been collecting bribes. While you served in parliament, and you're saying that, yes, you were given money to remove Aden Duale, was there a habit of such treating from the executive to pass either motions, bills, or whatever business that was? Maybe not
for me, as far as I'm concerned. We had this issue called pork barrels, whereby members of committee would influence some projects to be done within their constituencies, unfair to the other constituencies. And this issue, because I was in the budget committee, and mostly this was a budget issue. And throughout my 2 terms in Parliament, I was a member of the budget committee. And so that's really inducement, but through in a way that benefits the people really. As in terms of actual cash, I just came to. Of course, I've told you the case of Duale, and there's another case of Wamushomba, and I hope that you have also interrogated her, because she is the one who came up with that famous clause of famous saying that some people are being bribed in the toilet.
So you never heard of welfare chairpersons?
No, we didn't have welfare chairpersons. I think that is innovation that has come with Gen Z or something, or the parliament becoming younger. Yeah. So
and now, because you've heard from the president, you've heard from the members of parliament, the president alleges that bribes are being demanded, they're being received but not landing in parliament. Who is that giving resources from the executive? You've been there.
Well, I think your guess is as good as mine. Your guess is as good as mine, Sam. But I think that behoves a question. For there to be a taker of bribes, or the one demanding bribes, there must be somebody else who's giving bribes. And for what reason? And I want to echo what MP for Likoni, Ms. Mboko, said in Parliament today. That, for example, if you take that bill on anti-money laundering, what is in that bill that would make someone part with 10 million shillings? What is in that bill? What is it that we don't know? Who is that with vested interest? To hijack a government bill that was tabled by the leader of the majority. And, may I say recklessly spend 10 million on an otherwise government bill which looked innocuous, that it has got no private interest in it. What is it? So I think there are deeper questions here. There are deeper questions, and I hope that...
So this is not information that you ever came across while you served?
No, not really. Not really.
And it was never complained about in your circles? No,
of course, people were talking in. There were always talks in the corridors, but we've not seen it in this kind of magnitude or extent that we have seen over the last few weeks.
Interesting, because also the ACC obviously is speaking about it and saying that they're already investigating and they'll be finalizing on some files and take action about it. So if you were still advising the president, and we know what we know now, what would that advice look like? To just remain institutional and believe in the processes. Institutionalize the processes, because we cannot go back to knee-jerk reactions. We cannot go back to what I would call instant coffee approach towards fighting corruption. It has been done before. Kibaki did it, sent some people home. Uhuru did it. Moi at one time, brought in those technocrats when there was a lot of corruption. So it is what I would call motion without movement. What we need to do is to strengthen our institutions and believe in the processes. Yeah, we are not short of constitutional mandate for our bodies to be able to carry out this whatever. All right, this conversation will continue in regards to what else is happening in the political circles. Of course, we have heard from different leaders speaking, the president recommitting, as well as the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga saying that moving forward, there will be an implementation team led by former Senator Dr. Agnes Zani that will look into the implementation of the MOU between UDA and ODM. We'll have that conversation later